Good morning, everybody. Welcome in the webinars organized in collaboration between Henallux and Experis from the Manpower Group. I'm very happy to introduce this webinar, and I will first introduce some key topics in this presentation, and my colleague Christelle Chevalier and Catherine Hellen will join later to present other chapter of this webinar. My name is Jean-Marc Van Hofstadt. I'm the business unit manager of Experis IT, part of the Manpower Group, and today, as the fourth year we are doing that with Henallux, we will present you a webinar about practical tips from us to boost your career, about some key local Belgium international information about the recruitment market and about the future. Let's start this presentation. What about very important is, first of all, we would like to thank, of course, people from Henallux and especially the teacher allowing us to do this webinar and helping us to create the content. I'm talking about Quentin Vaguet, about Luc Gérard and Lionel Dehart. Were very helpful to make it happen. Thanks for that. Then let's jump now let's jump now in this presentation. Who are Manpower Group? Because it's Experis IT is part of the Manpower Group. Manpower Group is a group created in the let's say 80 years ago, and today it's really a group who are not only working about traditionally temporary business and market, but no, today it's a more segmented market where we have four strong brands, part of the Manpower Group. We still have Manpower, which is a lot of agency you can still see on different cities in Belgium and all over the world, which is more focused on interim. We have Experis, as we are part of it, Christelle and Catherine also. We are specialists in more consulting, high recruitment profile, and specifically in the sector of finance, HR, engineering, life science, and of course IT. And we have also the brand Talent Solution, which is a consulting brand of Manpower, really focused to help other organizations, corporate, to create the best recruitment flow and the best recruitment strategy in the new market. We talk about recruitment process outsourcing, about managed service provider. I will not go too much detail on that, but it's also a very strategic activity of the Manpower Group. And at last, we have Manpower Group Solution. We are creating a service for different company and more focus on profiles such as sales and marketing, healthcare support, administration, logistic, and automotive. Today, this is your host. As you can see, me on the left, I'm Jean-Marc Van Hofstadt, and other people will join the presentation as Christelle Chevalier, business manager of Experis, and Catherine Hellen, recruitment expert consultant at Experis. What are the main chapter of this presentation today? We will go to four main topics. What does the future hold? Do I have the right skill and objective? The perfect resume? And how do I get my dream job? We will start this presentation, but I invite you, because at the end of this session, we will have a Q&A session. Then we will invite you on your screen to add your question, and we will review all these questions after the presentation, and we will reply to all your questions, of course. If there is too much question and we have no time to answer all these questions, we will, of course, consolidate every answer and send it back to all people attendee today this webinar. By the way, we are around 70 people now following this webinar. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. Let's go about what does the future hold. We go immediately in the topic, the main topic. Manpower Group is a group of presence in more than 80 countries. We are focused on the business. We have more than 500,000 clients, and what we organize is the MEOS. What is the MEOS? It's the Manpower Employment Outlook Survey. It's an investigation, a survey we are raising every quarter, and we ask all our clients all over the world, how do they perceive the future of hiring? And this is an important exercise because we have access to every market, and it gives a very strong trend in the future. Therefore, what we will present you is not a crystal ball result, but it is really based on an independent and objective survey we organize. What is here interesting? It's the most recent one we did. As you know, we have a very specific context. Let's say the COVID. I'm not reinventing the reality, but this is a big impact, and you can see that in this result of our survey. On the left, you see the net employment forecast. What does it mean? It means that it's a simple calculation of the company we contact, and that is the difference between companies saying us, yes, we plan to hire new staff in the coming months, and companies saying us, no, we plan to decrease on the number of staff in the next months. What we note in the last years, to be clear, in the 3-4 last year, it was a constant increasing in hiring, and as you can see, in 2019 plus 13%, Q1 2020 plus 12%, and so on. But as you can see now, there is a significant drop for Q3 of -5%, and now the most recent one, who was done in September. To be honest, before the second lockdown, we see a kind of stabilization in this percentage. It's a 0%, which is, in fact, it's a balance between the company hiring and company decreasing the number of staff, which is a zero balance. This is the situation today. And as you can see also on the left, on the bottom of this slide, there is difference between our region in Belgium, difference between Brussels, Flanders, and Wallonia. We see that Flanders is the most impacted. Why? Because Flanders, it's a market composed of a lot of small, medium business enterprise who are very affected and very careful by the pandemic COVID situation. That's why they are very careful. We see this is also very careful in Wallonia, but the market in Wallonia is a big difference. It's biggest organization, more public sector market, and so this is why it's less impacted. And Brussels is also, as a service market, less impacted than the region. As you can see, it's really investigation. We go deeply in detail, and you can see the most impacted domain of activity. Without surprise, the biggest one is the sector of restaurant HoReCa, with -22% of net recruitment plan, meaning that it's a very big impact in this sector. Not a surprise. Other sector who are impacted as is the manufacturing and transport, storage, and also some kind of services. Positive sector who are seeing a really requirement in hiring are other production. Agriculture is going in the right direction. Also the construction and the finance services and public administration and education. This is the current, very local. We take this information for specifically for the Belgian market. And next one is a very interesting question we ask our clients. The question is simple: when will you return back to your pre-COVID hiring level? Meaning, when do you see the situation stopping and back to normal, as we can say, back to normal? And you can read that 37% of company replying to the survey say that they see it's gonna change. It's gonna change in the next 3 months. But there is also some company, 12%, maybe less, this situation will never go back to normal. It means we will be impacted for forever, meaning that it changed some kind of habits and way we need to move further in this new world. And the rest, let's say also 36%, are really asking, yeah, we can imagine we go back to what we call the normal before the pre-COVID, but it will take more time, let's say 4 to 9 months, others say 12 months. And yeah, they don't see that immediately coming back as it was in the past. It's interesting to know that you are last year graduated, and you can maybe imagine it's impacting when you will go to the market with your new profile. But I think we need to be also stay positive, because there is still a recruitment market, and you are also in the right sector because of IT profile. We are really seeing a real digital transformation for the moment, because we talk a lot about digital transformation in the past, but due to the pandemic situation, we really see a speeded process all around corporate and company. We really understand that the future will be digital. The future is today digital. You can see 4 years ago, I was in the auditorium of Henallux presenting in front of more than 100 students. And today I'm in my house looking at my cup of coffee and with you. This is a new reality for the corporates. It's not from today, it's already for 6 months, and it will also impact the future. Okay, second step I will continue presenting you is, do I have the right skills and objective for my career? And there we're going to talk about more general trends on the market. You know, Manpower Group is, as you see, it's one of the top 3 HR company in the world, and we 10 years ago we introduced at Davos economic seminar forum economic of Davos the concept of human age already at that time, because we talk a lot about the VUCA world. What is the VUCA world? It's VUCA world. It's in fact coming from. It's the first time was used by U.S. Army when there were some new rules, let's say rules in the war, and they realized that the old way of managing conflict was done, and they realized that they need to reinvent and reorganize the army, and they introduced this concept of VUCA world. What is about VUCA? It's all about volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, because the world is moving fast. The world is moving fast because we have a lot of new technology. We have worldwide access to market, making a lot of impact. We talk about the pandemic, but before the pandemic, there were also the let's say the economic war between China and America. There is also some impact of the instability all around the world, and also the fact that a lot of companies disrupt the market with digital company, disrupt the market and come to a new area where traditional company were not prepared to be to see that kind of competition. Also, what about the social network? All this world that you know better than us, and will really change the rules. And then we talk about this greater individual choice, because people have more access to a lot of opportunity. You can from home have access via web to all different information. Rise of client sophistication. Yes, clearly you can. We talk about client, but client, it's also you candidate people. They have a lot of information. You can consolidate a lot of information in front of a supplier. You will not say anymore, yeah, it's your job, find me a solution. You will inform you will investigate, and you will be better prepared. This is also what we call sophistication. I was talking about the technological revolution, which is a reality, and acceleration today. We see with a collaborative platform more and more. This is the way we collaborate, and shifting demographic, because that's part of the reality developing in Davos. In all occidental economy, we are facing also demographic problem when we have more people in the retaining situation, and we have less people active on the market, and some other part of the world where there is more people ready to move on the market, and that's why we need to have a global solution about this aspect. And that's why we introduce the concept of human age, because more than ever in this VUCA world, the focus will be based on the human, because you can have technology change. It's all about human at the end of the day, and that's a very important concept we discuss for a long time now. And then what we know, what we realize at Manpower is that in the future, skills are the new currency. What is meaning that yesterday in the whole world we recruit people based on only diploma and experience. Today, new reality is there. Doesn't mean that it's not important to have a diploma. I mean, when you finish your study as a bachelor in IT, it's a good and very important diploma. That's a fact. But today we recruit more and more on basis on soft skilling and your learnability, because it's a fast-moving world, and a job of today are not the same. We know that in 5 years, maybe 60% of the job we will recruit will be new. We don't know yet what will be this job. That's a reality. What does it mean? What we are looking for people, more than people who are the capacity of learnability, people ready to learn all along their career, meaning this is a necessity to always learn new technology, new process, new methodology to be the most efficient and the most relevant on the market. And the soft skilling is also a key element, because we talk about technology. If technology are taking a big part of the work, that's the main purpose of it. But we will still facing with human interface, and the human interface, it's all about soft skilling. It's about empathy, it's about collaboration, it's about communication, it's about management, and this is also a key element. And as you can see, what the market is looking is on the right, the blue one. It is really the most valuable skills the market is looking for the moment. We talk about skills in communication, collaboration, problem solving, organization skills, customer services, customer minded, leadership, management. And you see on the left in orange, it's quite difficult to find these people. It's quite difficult to find people with the right soft skilling. And this is important to realize for you, a student, that you need to really try to understand where are your strengths, your weakness in this domain, and try to improve it, and try to learn a lot, because these keys are really differentiator and a very important element for your future. Now it's time for me to stop talking and to give the next chapter to my colleague Christelle Chevalier, who will join. You will see Christelle's face, and I will disappear. Christelle, welcome.
Hi, Jean-Marc. Thank you very much for this very nice presentation, very nice introduction. Hi, everyone. So my name is Crystal. I'm working as a business manager within Experience IT, and today I'm going to give you some tips and tricks regarding the do's and don'ts to create a very good resume. So in the next slide, like I said, I would like to highlight the do's and the don'ts regarding how to create a very good and attractive resume. So first of all, my advice is to tailor your CVs. So what does this mean? It means that you need to create a CV that is personal. So on this slide, you can see that there is a link giving you access to a tool allowing you to generate a good draft of a resume. So that's a very interesting tool that I'm going to send you out after the presentation. So I invite you to have a look at this link. It's free and it's very useful. But to be clear with you, even you're gonna use this tool, you will need to bring anyway a personal touch to have a CV that is different than the others. The second important aspect is to focus on skills, on experience, and on your achievements. So I invite you to start by creating a clear overview of those topics. So you have to know that a recruiter who's gonna analyze your CV will need to have a clear view of your profile in just a few seconds. So we need to find out in your resume interesting information defining who you are, what you like to do, what kind of roles you would be interested in. So just try to be accurate on those skills and to define them at the best. Also, I invite you to use relevant keywords. You need to use, like I said previously, accurate words to really define what kind of role you are looking for, who you are, to define your personality in some words. So you need to be very careful with the words you're gonna use and you're gonna put on your resume. Also, it's always interesting to include a personal statement where you're going to explain in few sentences what your career goals are, or another statement could be what is important for you within a potential opportunity. So try to bring this personal statement. It will also make your CV more personal. Also, I suppose you plan to create a LinkedIn profile. So I invite you to always match your resume with your LinkedIn profile, because your LinkedIn page will be considered as your digital CV. So each time you're gonna learn new things, you're gonna follow a new trainings, you will hand a new project, for instance, just adapt it on your LinkedIn profile and do the same with your resume, because they need to be accordingly. Finally, try to avoid by being too general. For instance, if you have been working as a .NET developer during your traineeship, just put the different tasks you had during the traineeship, and not just mention the title of your role. So it's important to bring some information, but of course, keeping the right balance. So concerning the don'ts, don't tell a lie. So it means that you have to always tell the truth on your skills. So it's not necessary to pretend knowing something if it's not the case. You will have other opportunities to defend your application during a call interview, during a face-to-face meeting with the company. So it's always better to well, to be honest about what you effectively know. I will go back to the .NET developer as example, but if you apply for a .NET developer role and you don't have a very good knowledge of .NET, just be honest on this topic, but show your future employer that you are someone eager to learn, very motivated to learn new skills. That will be much more appreciated than realizing that, okay, what you said is not true. So the picture is always a debate. Some people will tell you that you have to put a picture. Some others will tell you, okay, they are not for the picture. But anyway, if you decide to put a picture on your resume, you need to be very careful with the one you're going to use. So you need to put a picture with a neutral background and a picture that is professional enough. So don't use a picture of you on the beach, for instance. That's not very good idea. Concerning the personal information, so you need to include all your contact details on your resume. So it means you will mention your full name, you will mention your email address, your address. Also, you can add the link to your LinkedIn profile. That's all the information that will be considered as interesting information. However, it's not necessary to mention information of no use, like if you have 3 dogs or you have 2 cats, it's not considered as relevant information to put on your resume. So on the next slide, I would like to show you 2 different styles to present your CV. So on the left, on the first resume, to be honest with you, it's not the ideal resume. And why it's not the ideal resume, even though the layout is quite simple and not that bad, we miss a lot of information on the candidates. We don't see any personal statements. We don't see anything about the personal interest, like the hobbies, for instance. The information provided regarding studies or the professional experience is very limited as well. So this is a good example of CV that we don't really recommend. However, on the right side, you can see a big difference with the first resume. So first of all, it's much more pleasant to read because the layout is original. So there is a real personal touch in there. And also it includes much more details about the candidate. So we're going to find out the personal statements, the studies and the experience are also much more detailed. We find out the candidate's hobbies. So this CV is very complete. And you can also see that in only one page, you can make 2 different uses. So in one page, you can put a lot of information on you. So no needs to have 2-3 pages for your resume, especially because you're going to start your professional experience. So you don't have so much to put in there, but try to remain consistent and to provide some not too general information. So on the next slide, so now that you are ready to well, to start searching for a new challenge. I'm going to show you the most famous, the most popular channels to apply for a job or to search for opportunities. So first of all, I'm going to invite you to visit our corporate experience website, because you're going to find on a very regular basis, you're going to find open and updated vacancies. Next to that, of course, you can go to the common platform like Indeed, like Monster, Stepstone, that you probably know. And one channel that will be really relevant for you guys is ICT Job, because ICT Job is, well, specifically IT related. So you're gonna find very interesting, for sure, very interesting opportunities for you. Another important channel is, of course, LinkedIn. Like I said previously, LinkedIn will be considered like your digital CV that you will update well, during all your career. Each time you gonna move from an employer to another one, each time you will get new certifications or whatever, you will adapt it on your LinkedIn profile. So another interesting thing is also, well, with many of those platforms, you can create job alerts. So it means that you can go on the different channel, on the different website, and if you upload some information about what you are interested in, then you will receive notifications regarding the open vacancies that match your profile. It avoids, of course, to waste too much time and to go back every day on the job sites doing the same research. So I invite you to really create the different job alerts. And finally, last but not least, that is something you probably not necessarily think about, but another very interesting channel for you is your personal network. So if you, I mean, the moment you're gonna search your first professional experience, I invite you to mention your friends, your family, and, well, all the people that you know that you are looking for your first professional experience, because at least they will have, they will know that, okay, they know someone with an IT background, and well, the word of mouth is very, very important. So, well, it was all about the slides that I wanted to present you today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate to use the chat for asking your questions. And at the end of this presentation, we will go back to the Q and to the questions and organize, like Jean-Marc said, a Q&A. So now I'm going to let the word to my colleague Catherine, who's gonna explain how to get your dream job. So enjoy.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for the introduction, Christelle. So the next part, so once you have applied for a position, it is how do I get my dream job, mainly for an interview. So here, before your first contact, it's important that your profile is really up to date in the sense that if you are, for example, applying for a C++ developer position, that you definitely mention C++ somewhere on your CV, even though it's only like a basic knowledge, because if you don't mention it, then it's going to look very strange. Also important is that you read the vacancy, also the required competencies, and also check your motivation for the position and the company before they actually call you up. Also, what's important is that you check information about the company that you can find online, for example, on their website or through press releases, so that you know what their core business is. what kind of solutions they provide, what kind of services. But also very important is that you can check the values of the company. Because, for example, if you are in an interview, let's say you have an interview for Proximus, and they ask you during the interview, like, why are you applying for Proximus specifically and not for VOO, our competitor? Here, VOO and Proximus, they basically do exactly the same, but what makes them different is that they have different values. So if you can mention like the values of Proximus, they are more similar to mine, then you can actually make a very good impression with that question, and then you have also a very nice answer. So definitely check the values to see if it matches with your values, because then you can also highlight that there is a good fit between you and the company culture itself. Then what's also important is that you consult your network, because perhaps you might already know someone who is working in the company where you would like to apply. So you can ask some additional information about the company culture and so on. You can always check also Glassdoor, because a lot of employees, they write some reviews about the company, how they experience working there. Of course, sometimes, as you have like a TripAdvisor, usually you will find also a lot of negative reviews. So always be skeptical as well. Also check LinkedIn, Facebook, regarding the information that you can find there about the company. Voila. Then your first phone call. So once you have applied, perhaps the company might call you up directly or send you an email to schedule a quick video call. So if it's a video call these days, it will be probably through Teams, Skype, Zoom, but you also have other platforms out there. Important is that you're always prepared, especially for the video calls, of course. So to make sure that you can find a quiet room, that the room is also appropriate, of course, and also that you have enough time scheduled so that you're not in a rush. Also here, the first phone call, so the acquaintance conversation, it's more a short introduction of who you are. So if you introduce yourself, usually what we would like to hear is your interest in IT. So why did you actually are interested in IT? What triggered you? Why did you decide to study IT? What kind of direction would you like to go out in IT? What is your specialization? And also, what kind of projects have you done at school, or like your traineeship, your memoir? So all those kind of information is really interesting to mention in a chronological order, of course. Voila. Then what you can also mention during the first phone call is especially what attracted you towards the position. So what were the pull factors? So what motivates you to apply for it? What's really interesting about the company, about the position itself, and about how it matches with your career goals. Also, you can ask already some questions. For example, some questions about training possibilities, about on-the-job coaching, internal mobility, and so on. So if you have questions, you can already ask them, of course. And also what's important is that you know your availability, because if the phone call goes very well, then they might already want to schedule an interview on site, or a very more in-depth video call interview. So it's really important that you know your availabilities, so that you can give those availabilities so that they can schedule this interview as soon as possible. Voila. Then we go to the next slide, which is the interview itself. So the interview, it's really your time to demonstrate that you are the right candidate for the position itself, and that you are also very motivated, of course. So here it's important that you look at the required competencies, but also at the soft skills. So if you look in the job description, you can already start to think about some skills that you have that match with the job description itself, what your strengths are, and also at the soft skills to see if those also match with your strengths. Then you can also already prepare some typical HR questions that you might receive. So we will go later on in the slide to some typical questions and how you can answer them. Also, what's important is that you know what the appropriate outfit is, especially for an interview on site. So usually it's always business casual, so wearing a nice shirt with a nice pants and nice shoes. But of course, you have some extremities on the job market as well. So, for example, if you are going to apply in a company which is more in the insurance company or in financial industry, it's a very formal attire, so with suits and everything. But then if you go and apply at a startup, then it's usually like with t-shirts and some very casual wear. So if you are going to end up in a financial company and you are wearing some casual wear, it's going to leave a weird impression as well. So you can always ask, for example, if you go through a recruitment agency, to ask more about the dress code, because they can definitely help you out in this topic. What's also important during an interview is that you bring your CV, perhaps also bring a copy, because you never know if the printer doesn't work in the company itself, then you can give them a second copy, which is very convenient and will also leave a very nice impression, but also bring something to write. And what you can always do is before you go to the interview, take the job description with you, write some remarks, or some questions about the job description on that paper. Also think of some questions that you can ask in advance. So in case that you have, for example, a blackout, that you have something to fall back onto. And it's also nice for the recruiter or the hiring manager to see that you actually prepared the interview. So it will leave a very good impression anyway. So if you ask some questions, it's really important that you always ask it, even though if they have mentioned all the questions that you had before, so that you actually have no questions anymore. It is important that you keep on still asking something at least, because here it shows that you're really interested. And what you can always ask is some additional questions, for example, about the company atmosphere, about the company culture. So, for example, you can ask, like, can you tell me more about the team? How is the atmosphere of the team? Can you tell me more about like the company culture, what you actually like about working here in the company? Because it's also valuable information for you to know, of course, what's nice about working in the company itself. Also here, what's important during the interview, it is that you are on time. So when you have an interview on site, always check in advance if there are like any parking possibilities, if it's easy to park your car or if it's like difficult. If you go like with the bus or with the train, make sure that you have some kind of backup plan, or don't take like the last bus. Make sure that you're well in time, because you never know what will happen. And also, if you go by car, think about like possible traffic jams, because we live in Belgium. On a rainy day, there's always like some kind of accident happening. So here, take some time in advance to really make sure that you are on time on the interview itself. It can happen that you might be a little bit too early. So in case that you are too early, I would recommend you to don't go inside yet, because if you go inside, for example, 1 hour in advance, it might not be like the best impression either, because then you might rush your hiring manager, and it might start off the interview with some uncomfortable feelings. So always make sure that you go inside about 15 minutes in advance. That would be like the best thing to do. In case that you are late, it can always happen. then it's important that you immediately call your contact person or the hiring manager to let them know that you are, for example, in a traffic jam, or if there is any kind of delay, because it's always best to mention it in advance than just showing up late, of course. Here, what's also important is, of course, that you show your gratitude. So you can show your gratitude in the beginning of the interview, but you can also show your gratitude after the interview. So if you start the interview, you can already thank the person to invite you to the interview itself, that you appreciate to receive this opportunity. And also after the interview, especially if it's the case, you can mention like that you really enjoyed the interview, and that you hope for a positive continuation. So it's already nice for the hiring manager to receive that first feedback from your side. But what's far most important is that you are yourself. So just like on your CV, don't tell a lie. So for example, if you say that you are comfortable with giving public speaking presentations and you are not, but you say during your interview that you are, then perhaps you might end up giving a public speaking presentation, which is of course not like the best situation for you. So always be honest. And also what's very important during the interview, it is really showing your potential. Because just to give you an idea, there has been done some research a few years ago where they asked multiple employers about a hypothetical situation if they have to choose between a candidate who has the relevant experience, but they have no real potential, and then you have another candidate who doesn't really have the experience, but they have high potential. Which candidate would they like to hire? And so it isn't the candidate with the relevant experience that they prefer, but it's the candidate with the high potential, because this candidate will actually grow in the position and will grow with the company. So here it's really important, especially for you, to show that potential. Of course, you can think like, okay, it's easy to say show potential, but how do you actually do it? So here, actually, it's a basic psychological knowledge. So actually, past behavior predicts future behavior. So here, to show your potential, you actually have to answer your questions as behavior-based as possible. And you can actually use the following technique. And so, which is the STAR technique. So here, the STAR technique, it is an abbreviation for situation, task, action, and results. So here, if you have an example, for example, you created a website for a company. So let's say like for your local shop before COVID-19, so that they can still like sell some items through pictures online, and then they can make an appointment. So here you can mention like, okay, the situation is due to COVID-19, they could no longer stay open, but they did not have any website. So I created a website for them. Your task is to learn what kind of products they sell, take some pictures, and put them online, create the website with the following technologies. Then the action is I did also some extra things, for example, to really highlight the nice thing about the company. And then the result is that the company could still sell some things during the company itself, thanks to your website. So that's actually how you can briefly explain a project, but also, for example, one of your strengths towards some actions that you took in the past. Then we have the next slide. So this one is actually with the typical questions that you can receive during an interview. Some of them are very hard to answer if you haven't prepared them in advance. So I always recommend you to think about these questions, how you would respond to it, and perhaps also check with someone to see if you can still improve your answer. So here, one of the questions might be, what are your 3 strengths and what are your 3 attention points? And usually finding your 3 strengths, for most of us, it is like the easiest one. So you check what you're strong in, and then you also think of some examples that you can give to really demonstrate your strength, but also look to the job description to see what kind of soft skills that are required, because if there are some soft skills which are very applicable to you, definitely mention those also as a strength. Then with the 3 attention points, so if you have some difficulty with finding an attention point, I would recommend you to, for example, look at your strengths, because in some situations, strength might be exaggerated in some situations, and then it can become an attention point. Just to give you an example, so if you are a creative person, your creativity sometimes goes into an overdrive, you might lose some realistic perspective on your creative ideas, so it's no longer feasible. So in this case, you should actually use it also as an attention point to make sure that you always stay like realistic with it, and that you can actually also use your ideas. So that's one of the examples. Then if you cannot find an attention point through that strategy, you can always look at past projects. You can look at past assignments, because you always receive an evaluation, and usually during an evaluation they also mention some attention points. In case you don't find an attention point through those 2 strategies, you can always look online on Google to find a list with attention points and see which one is most applicable to you. In case you do, if you have your 3 attention points, it is important that you always also mention what you are actually doing to improve on them, and also what you can do to improve on them if you're not already doing it. But also keep in mind that you don't say like an attention point that actually will shoot yourself in the foot with during an interview. For example, if you are going to say that you have some time management, your attention point would be time management, that you don't always meet deadlines, that's not going to be the best one to mention. So always keep in mind that you're not going to mention something too bad, which is going to reduce your chances of getting the job you really want. Then the next question. So tell me something about your experience. So here it's the same as the introduction. So you can mention that why you actually decided to study IT. And then also about your projects, about your internship, student jobs, perhaps, if it's relevant. And then you can go through a chronological order to the time today. Then you might have a question, so why should we hire you? Usually what people answer is just a list of their strengths, and then they stop. But here it's important that you also make a bridge, so that you clearly mention why it's a good thing for the company itself. So if you mention like, okay, for this functional analyst position, you should hire me because I'm very good in analysis. I have a strong analytical mindset. Then you have to also mention it's actually very good in this opportunity because due to my competencies, I will be able to make some good analysis. So you always need to clearly and explicitly mention why it's good for the opportunity and for the company itself. Then what you might also receive is the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So I think it's for most of the people, you don't have like a clear 5 years plan. So you might not know exactly where you will be in 5 years time. So in case it is this case, don't worry, you can be also honest in this question. So you can mention like, I don't know exactly where I will be in 5 years, but what I would like to achieve in 5 years is some nice realizations in the company where you're applying to, so that you can really show that you would like to stay there at least for 5 years, and that you would like to grow within the company to achieve some nice projects within the company. So that's also how you can answer this question in a very nice way. Then you also have the question, what is your most successful accomplishment? So that's something that you have to think about, what you're most proud of. It's always best to pick a project or a traineeship, for example. And also you can definitely use the STAR methodology to answer a behavior-based answer to the question. Voila. So here after the interview, it's important to do also a nice follow-up. So you can send after the interview feedback through email to really mention that your interest and also your motivation. And you can also connect with the recruiter on LinkedIn. Here, in case that you're not hired, so you might receive a lot of no's before you receive your final yes. In this case, I would really recommend you to not give up. You really need to keep on going. So continue your search. In case that you notice that you applied to everything, but nothing is really working out and there are no new jobs coming in through the job alerts, you can always re-examine your possibilities. So perhaps it might be a good idea to look a little bit further away from home than what you intentionally planned, especially like with COVID-19. There is a lot of possibilities for remote work, even after if everything goes back to normal. So it's not a bad idea to find an opportunity a little bit further away from home. And in other cases, you can also perhaps check for other opportunities which were not in your initial scope, because perhaps there are some interesting opportunities out there for you, but you haven't even thought about them before. So definitely also ask for advice to recruiters to see how you can improve your interview skills and to see if there might be other opportunities that could be interesting for you. So at the moment, we are reaching our conclusion. So Jean-Marc, you will explain you more about how you can reach us and also about the Q&A that will follow soon.
Yes, thank you, Catherine. I think we made it. We made it. It's already a good presentation. Thank you all. I hope you learned some key elements based on our outcome. But let's continue. As I say, we have a Q&A session. Thanks a lot to the person who asked the question. I really understand that not all of you want to ask questions and so on, but feel free to send questions or contact us after if you think about that. Sometimes we need a bit time to really come back with relevant question. I want to be advised to you, of course, it's let's discover all our vacancies, job and advice toward our website, which is www.exparis.be. Of course, you are not allowed to go and see the competition website. I'm joking, but it's very interesting to follow and understand what is the market requirements for the moment. I invite you you are not supposed maybe to immediately apply, but look at different job description, job adverts to give you really an idea what is the market looking for, what are the key elements, what are the key hard skills, soft skills that the current market is looking at. Of course, more than ever, and it is our business, it is our DNA, it is our this is our expertise. You can send us your CV, even it's your first CV, even you don't, you are not fully confident with your CV. Don't have a problem with that. Send us a CV to the following email address: max.mates@experience.be. I promise you, this is someone who will take care of the CV you sent, and of course, we will give you feedback on your CV because it's very important. We will give you advice, and maybe you will have a chance, because we are taking that also, to win a free coaching session because we take some CV, but we will of course take all the CV and try to help you moving in this new world, this new VUCA world, I say. But as I said at the beginning, you are in a sector, IT sector, which is very, very high demanding sector, and I think you need to realize that and be confident and be prepared also for your future. No, I'm asking to my colleague to reappearing. Oh, you're magical! Is Christelle and Catherine back? I'm very happy because I see you ask a lot of questions, interesting question, and I'm more than happy because I will ask the question, but I will not reply to it, and I will ask my colleague Christelle and Catherine to reply to it, and then I will immediately start. If you are ready, are you ready, Christelle and Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, I can go. First question we received was, do you have any advice or how to train on soft skills? I'm asking this question first to Christelle.
So that's a question how we can learn about soft skills, right?
Yes. Do you have any advice how to train on this important aspect?
So I think a good idea is maybe to ask your friends, your family, I mean the people who know you, how they see you, to ask them to define your strong soft skills and maybe the things, the skills that can be improved. Also, I would invite you to have as much interviews as possible. So each time you are contacted by a recruiter or a company, don't hesitate to accept to have an interview. It will be a good way to test your soft skills, and then you can always ask a feedback, the reason why you haven't been selected, or the things that have been appreciated by the person you spoke with. So that would be my recommendation to get your soft skills improved.
Thank you, Christelle, for this great answer. In the same direction, let's say. It's not easy to understand what are our soft skills, and do we have a methodology to recommend self-assessment and how to perceive where are our soft skills, where we need to improve, and so on. Do we have a methodology of tools or proposal on that? Catherine?
So there is no clear methodology to really improve your soft skills, but what you can always do is also check online to see if you can find perhaps some trainings. So if you would like to improve your soft skills in terms of communication, then you can definitely also follow some trainings to give more clear communication. skills to improve it on. But also what you can always do is online find perhaps some personality tests if you really want to check out like what your strengths are, to check what your strengths might be according to those personality tests. But of course, it's always important, that some personality tests, they're not always very accurate. So also keep that in mind as well.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for your insight to that. I think there are some very nice personality tests, very famous one. As for example, 16personalities.com, which is very, very well known. I think it's interesting. You go, you just type on Google 16 personalities. It will immediately give you the link to. It's a 20 minutes assessment. It's a great stuff to start with. But as said by Catherine, it's not efficient, and not only this source of assessment who need to give you a final definition of your soft skills, but it is really nice exercise to do, and there is plenty of it. And then maybe do that differently, find different tests and see if it's first consistent, and you can learn the key element coming back every time about soft skills. Thank you, Catherine. Next question. Could you summarize with a few words the difference between soft skills and hard skills? And I ask the question to Christelle.
So the soft skills will be related to your personality, the way you can communicate. I mean, it's more related to the behavior. And the hard skills will be like your technical skills. So that would be the way I would make the difference between the two. The hard skills are the things that you can demonstrate regarding a specific role. So like I said before, if you apply for a job as a .NET developer or a Java developer, having good communication skills, the hard skills will be the technical part, and the soft skills will be the way you are able to communicate.
Thank you, Christelle. Thank you. Next question, interesting also question. Can the skills of video game be used as soft skills in our resume? And for example, talking about rapid decision making, strategy in place, self-confidence, team time management. Is it something relevant, Catherine?
Yeah, I think it can be definitely relevant, especially if you highlight more like the soft skills part of it during your video games. But also, if you like to game, you can also mention it with your hobbies. So you like gaming, because I know for some opportunities and also from some companies, they mentioned that they actually the ideal candidate would be someone who is gaming in their spare time, because usually they do tend to have the good soft skills. So I think definitely you can mention that as well.
Good. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. Next question coming is it a good idea to ask for a feedback directly after the interview? Christelle.
So in my opinion, it's always a good idea to ask for feedback. It will depend on the person you have in front of you and what is your feeling about the interview you had with this person. So it depends also on your personality. If you are someone very extrovert and you are not afraid to ask the question, so please do ask the question. And if you are not at ease to do it directly during the interview, you can always drop an email to thank you, of course, for being invited for the interview. And then it's the good opportunity to ask for a feedback. But asking for a feedback anyway, directly after the interview or a bit after is always a very good point for you.
Thank you, Christelle. And next question, a bit what we already asked. How can we learn about our soft skills? Because it's a question coming back. I'll say, how can we learn soft skills? Because first of all, not everybody know exactly what are our soft skills, and then when we know it, how can we learn that? How can we improve? What do you think, Catherine?
Well, actually, yeah, just again, soft skills, they are really linked to your personality. So these are things you are very strong in, for example, but also things you can improve on. Yeah, the things you can improve on, you can always check perhaps online for some trainings, but perhaps you can also find some activities in your spare time to improve on. Because, for example, if you have a soft skill which you're not so strong in, for example, publicly speaking, then what you can always do is find an activity where you will have to speak more publicly, and that's how you can improve on it, of course. So you have a lot of different kind of activities that you can think of to improve on your soft skills. Yeah.
Good. Good, thank you very much. Next question is about in an interview, is it better to answer the question in a simple way or to give a long answer? Good question. Do we need to be short or can we stay long? Christelle, what do you advise?
So I would advise to get the right balance, because a simple question, I mean, the goal is not to answer by yes or no. That would be too simple, for instance. But in the other way, I mean, replying by a very, very long response is not necessarily good neither. So it depends really on what we are expecting from you in terms of content. I would go and I would advise anyway to be simple in your question and not try to complexify too much your answer. Once again, you need to be spontaneous, and you need to be yourself. So yeah, I would suggest to be to be simple in your answer, but quite complete enough.
Thank you, Christelle. I think you were very simple in your answer and very concrete.
I hope so.
we need to give the good example. Next question: what kind of hobbies is better to write on our CV? Catherine?
Yeah, so your hobbies, it's something personal, of course. So it has to be true and also that fits with your own hobbies. So yeah, I think kind of hobbies you should not mention is, for example, if you like to watch TV, it's not a real hobby. But for example, if you're a social person, you can always mention that you like to do some activities with your friends, some social gatherings. Also, if you have done some youth movement things like Scouts or like Hero, you can definitely mention that as well, because there you also learn some nice skills. Also, what I mentioned before, if you like gaming, also mention it on your CV. But also, if you like to assemble PCs in your spare time, or you like to create a network with routers and switches, or set up your own server, that's also something you can mention on your CV as a hobby. Or even like if you like to develop some applications in your spare time, you can also mention that as well, because that's something that employers will be very interested to learn about it of you as well, that you're also busy in your spare time with, for example, your studies.
Thank you, Catherine. And I think if I can add something, is when you put hobbies on your CV, be ready for having a story to tell about these hobbies, and it could be very related to the job you want to have in the future. And if you are well prepared by hobbies and this nice storytelling in relation with the job, it could be a very added value also in the interview process. Thank you, Catherine, for your answer. Next question. If our honest answer to a frequently asked question in job interview is potentially damaging for our chance to get the job, should we still be completely honest? Or is it better to adapt to the recruiter needs? Christelle.
It's a very interesting question, honestly. Well, I would suggest to always remain honest, because it's who you are. So to go back to the the slide that I presented during the presentation, you need to be honest. It's not necessary to lie. However, I think it's always a question of how you're gonna say something. So I think everything can be said, but you need to find the right words to explain the thing, and it will make a big difference. I suppose in the fact to be honest. So I don't know. I hope it answers your question, Maxime.
He cannot reply, but yes, I think it's.
But he can reply via the chat. So
yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. You can reply by chat if you want. But I think you're right, Christelle. I think if you start to be honest, if you start a little bit lying about your profile, and so if you are not honest, it will be somewhere something negative at the end, because you cannot always lie in your job activities. You need to be. You need to be yourself. You need to improve. You need to learn, but you need to start to be yourself, to be better, to improve, and to learn. Yeah, this is very important. Thank you, Christelle. Next question is: could a few soft skills be presented in a short personal statement on the CV? Catherine.
Yeah, definitely. You can mention a few soft skills. So your strengths. So I would say definitely mention it. Of course, don't make like a too long list. Just like as Christelle mentioned earlier, you have to be also very precise. Don't like make too many pages. But you can definitely already mention a few soft skills. And when you're applying for an opportunity, then you can also look to the soft skills of the job description itself. If they mention someone who is very communicative, good analytical skills, team spirit, then you can mention it as well. That if it's like in your case, that you're very communicative with strong analytical mindset and with good team spirit, you can mention it as well. That you are that kind of person, so that you can also show that you're a match in terms of soft skills when you send your CV.
Thank you, Catherine. I think I was reviewing all the chat, and I don't see other question right now. But as I say, you can after that send in your question, contacting us, sending your CV. You know what? Because we will also, of course, share this presentation, and you can read it. At your rhythm, of course. We heard Christelle, Catherine, and I hope that it was very interesting for you what we present to you. You are welcome soon in the fantastic VUCA and great world of work, and we are more than ready to help you to go in that new world, and feel free to contact us to do what you want. We are always there to help you and reply to all your questions. Voila, I think the plan of this seminar was to stop at noon. We are a little bit before noon. I think we would like, on the name of Catherine and Christelle, to thank you. To stay very aware, and you stay on during this presentation between 70 people and 60, 75. It was nice. Thank you for your time. Let's hope that we will also be back more on the physical seminar next time. But you know, this is the new world of work. We are on the digital world today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Christelle. Thank you all, and thank you for this great partnership. And we wish you a very nice week, and talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day too.